I saw this video and I rushed home to record a video on it. This is probably one of the best breakdowns of how the West tries to excuse the jihadists by trying to explain their ideology with Western ideas. Check this out, an incredible response to Ta-Nehisi Coates, basically saying Hamas, what should they have done? Great job by Elica Le Bon, an Iranian pro-Israel activist, exposing his, completely bad faith argument.
Can I tell you what I'm not doing anymore? I'm no longer pretending that these people don't know exactly what they're doing and that they aren't doing it on purpose. If you haven't seen this clip of Ta-Nehisi Coates on the Trevor Noah podcast, watch this.
Where 20 years old, born into Gaza, which is a giant open-air jail. If my little sister has, cancer and she needs treatment because there are no, facilities to do that in Gaza, and I don't get the right permits, she might die. And I grow up under that oppression and the wall comes down. Am I also strong enough? Well, I say, this is too far. I don't know that I am. I don't know that I am.
This is the age-old alliance between leftists and jihadists. It is a personal agenda. And let me explain how I know that they know what they're doing. Ta-Nehisi Coates is representing as an authority on this matter, going on TV, talking about it on podcasts, even having written books. You do not become an authority on this matter without having done extensive research. And if you did the research, you would have come across the facts to debunk your position. You didn't miss the facts. I know that when you said, gee, if I were Hamas and I was subject to a blockade, I know you didn't miss the fact that that blockade was imposed in 2007 after Hamas took control of the Gaza Strip, an internationally recognized terrorist organization. I know you didn't miss the fact when you said, gee, if I were Hamas and I was subject to a blockade by air, land, and sea. I know you didn't miss the fact that they were smuggling weapons from those very ports. I know you didn't miss the fact that Egypt has the same blockade for the same fears of smuggling, terrorism, in alignment with the Muslim Brotherhood and militancy. I know when you sat there and said, jihad, if I were Hamas and I didn't have access to good hospitals in Gaza, I know you didn't miss the fact that Hamas embezzled millions and millions of dollars of the Gazan people's money, not to build hospitals, invest in medicine, science, advancements, no, but to build complicated networks of terror tunnels underground, missiles, weaponry, rockets. When they invested those millions into terrorism, you missed the fact that that's why Gaza doesn't have good hospitals on your journey to becoming an authority on this matter. And then you want to tell me, if you were Hamas and you couldn't access those hospitals in a different country that you have no business accessing and have all of the means to create for yourself, and then you came across Israeli civilians, you want to say, gee, I don't know if I could help myself but to shoot a 4-year-old in the face. I don't know if I could help myself but to rape innocent people. I don't know if I could help myself but to snap their necks, throw them on the back of a truck and spit on their naked bodies. I don't know if I could help myself but to drag their naked bodies in the street on motorcycles. I don't know if I could help myself but to capture a family of 5 and make them watch as I killed each of their children one by one. I don't know if I could help myself but to set them on fire. I don't know if I could help myself but to kidnap innocent people and hold them in terror tunnels for 10 months and then shoot them in the head at close range. I just don't know if I could do it. If you don't know that you couldn't help yourself, you don't need to be speaking to Trevor Noah on a podcast about faux liberation movements. You need to be under a 5150 hold, okay? Danger to self and others. If you don't know that you could help yourself, you don't sound like someone who belongs at the forefront of a liberation movement. You sound like someone who belongs in the asylum. This is precisely my point. How much evil, in furtherance of their own agenda, can they disguise under humanity? How much evil can they disguise under liberation? How much evil can they disguise under resistance. The thing is, though, when you break down their logic or reverse it, it just doesn't quite check out. If I were to say, you know, if I were an Israeli and my grandma was killed in the Second Intifada and my mom was killed by Hamas, all of these surrounding neighboring countries were attacking but my entire country's existence, constant terrorist attacks, not just by rockets, invading, killing us by gunfire, constant October 7th, even before the creation of the country, constant pogroms and attacks, October 7th, after October 7th, even before that, being kicked out of all the Arab countries, kicked out of Germany, Russia, Eastern Europe, even before that in the medieval ages, the Spanish Inquisition, kicked out of England after being scapegoated for the Black Plague and the Black Death, even further back than that, being kicked out of my ancestral homeland and subject to conquest after conquest after conquest, dimitude, reduced to second, third class citizens, persecuted for 2,000 years. And then after my grandma was killed, after my mother was killed, I came across a family of innocent Arabs, a young child. Can I tell you how I'd finish that sentence? I'd take care of that child, give them a hug, because that is a fucking baby, you fucking psychopath. If you finish that sentence any differently, you're not a thought leader. You're not a humanitarian. You're not leading a liberation movement. You're not the good guys. When you never had questions about the why behind any form of evil before, but all of a sudden you want to get inside the mind's eye of the jihadists and say, well, I wonder what compelled them to be bad, because they definitely aren't bad on their own. They're just misunderstood. When all of a sudden you're invested in the eternal why behind jihad, knowing that it didn't come from Western imperialism, knowing that the reason is nothing but evil, power, control, domination, supremacy, racism, bigotry, greed, fundamentalism, extremism, indoctrination, when you know that's the reason. And then you sit there with the eternal why behind jihad, you're not doing that by accident. You know what the best part about this is? This man, Trevor Noah, okay? By the way, we've seen the tweets, Trev. Trevor with the tweets had the nerve to sit there and say, I'm just so angry for Ta-Nehisi Coates for being accused of extremism. It's Trevor Noah himself who once said, I prefer the obvious monster to the invisible monster, because with the invisible monster, you have to invest all your time and energy into fighting to prove that the monster exists. Well, let me ask you something, Trevor. Trevor with the tweets. What do you do when people don't see the visible monster that's right in front of them? What do you do? Is that an accident that they don't see the monster right in front of them? Is it an accident that they don't actually think it's a monster when it's time to scapegoat the Jews against the Western world and align with the Islamists? Is it that they don't see it? Or is it that they see the monster, they support the monster, and they know exactly what they're doing?
That was a powerful, just strain of thought there by Elica Le Bon. She didn't stop at all. Just one stream of consciousness. I mean, she broke in and out, but it totally connected, and it ended as she begun with, she's done with these people trying to pretend like they're ignorant of the monsters. You know, the monsters are among them. They like what they see. They support what they see. And they are part of the problem. For more, subscribe to the channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored.